The distant future looks like medieval France. In today's video, I'll be reviewing and giving my thoughts on Alastair Reynolds' newest novella, The Dagger in Vichy. Alastair Reynolds gives us a really unique and exciting story in his new novella from Subterranean Press, The Dagger in Vichy. This edition is now available, and I believe there are still some signed copies. So I was able to pick this one up recently off a pre-order. And, if you're lucky, I think there still are some signed copies available. And this is a really nice cloth-bound edition from Subterranean Press. Otherwise, I believe you can pick up a ebook edition from Amazon. This story gives us a really unique look at a far future where society has regressed technologically. And it's set in France, but it's similar to a medieval France. So all the modern day technologies and things are gone. But there is this aspect, this really interesting aspect in this novel where there is old and ancient technology that's still around and can be found. But the society that we see today cannot produce this technology, and they're only finding things that are more advanced than what we have today, but at that time period are no longer possible. And they're just finding the remnants and picking these things up and interacting with them. And this leads to a very interesting and compelling plot element in this story, which I'll discuss later on. I will try to keep this review spoiler free as I can, and just kind of give my overall thoughts on what I thought of this novel and a final review. So this story starts out with a troupe of actors traveling in a wagon on a road across France, where they encounter a dying soldier. And they stop their wagon to help this soldier. And as he is dying, he gives them a mysterious box. And he tells them that it needs to be delivered. The playwright and screenwriter of this troupe, Master Guillaume, is entrusted with this mysterious box and ensures this dying soldier that he will make the delivery safe and sound as best that he can. So we get this group of actors, and after encountering the soldier, they kind of go on their way to the next town. What they do is they move from town to town, putting on these plays that Master Guillaume has written. And he's kind of an aging playwright that his best work is behind him, but he's trying to work on the next great play, his next masterpiece. So why this troupe of actors is putting on plays, he's kind of sitting in the wagon, writing, trying to come up with the next best thing. And he also has assistance from a young man, a young adult teenager who he recruited into the troupe. This boy was a thief, and he's kind of given him a second chance. So this young man is his assistant, and we kind of see the story from his eyes. And what happens is this young man comes upon Master Guillaume in the wagon, and he's kind of not necessarily spying on him, but just kind of overhears some talking. And so he's curious. He looks in there discreetly, and Master Guillaume is speaking to the mysterious box given to them by the dying soldier. And this box is saying some really interesting things. And at the same time, as this is occurring, Master Guillaume is coming up with new ideas for a new play, where he really hadn't been able to write much. He hadn't been able to come up with ideas. And yet suddenly he's getting these new ideas for this really fantastic masterpiece of a play. And all the other troupe and the actors are, they're glad to see this is happening. But the young man, has some suspicions. How is the master getting these ideas, and why has he been talking to the mysterious box? So I don't want to go into any more of the plot details from there, just to avoid spoilers. This is a very quick read. It's a novella, a very small book. You can read it in a matter of hours. So I hope that kind of sets the stage for you. There's this troupe of actors, a mysterious box. The box begins talking to the master playwright. And then things begin to happen. There's not a whole lot of action in this until near the end. But the whole time, there's a lot of suspense. The young man, the assistant, comes upon the master on several different occasions, all speaking to the mysterious box. And he begins to wonder, he begins to get his own ideas. What's going on with this box? Does he want to maybe sneak into the wagon and try to talk to it himself? That's really all there is to the plot. There is more to the plot, and it does get really interesting near the end. As far as the concepts and things that are examined in this story, let's just say there's some AI involved. There's a low-tech society, and this is something you don't see too often in science fiction. You do see it occasionally, but where you have kind of a low-tech society that has to interact in some way with advanced technology that's either found or given to them by an alien species or what have you. So I really enjoy stories with that low-tech society interacting with advanced technology, and how do they react to these things? How does it force the characters to change their ideas and decisions about things? And this is very much a story like that. So if you're into that sort of story, this is definitely worth checking out. We also see the setting is France. Like I said, in the far future, medieval, but it's a medieval France. There's this forest, this dark forest that's kind of spreading, and that's because in the past, to kind of improve the climate and things, this forest was this grown, and it's still growing today. It's still growing in the present time at the story, which is presumably far into the future. And there are things in the forest that end up having a role in the plot later in the book that really makes things interesting. So yeah, we have those concepts with the AI, with the advanced tech, and set in the far future of medieval times. And overall, together, these things do really make a very compelling, unique story. I really like the characters in this story. Master Guillaume and his assistant are very interesting. The other actors, why they don't play, we don't see their perspective. They are involved in the story, and they all have their own motivations. They're all interesting characters, in my opinion. And Alastair's typical creativity and imagination is really on full display here. I mean, this is an incredibly unique setting with a very interesting plot hook that really only Al could come up with. He is one of my favorite authors, and continues to be so. And also, Alastair gives us enough world building to really get a good perspective of what the setting looks like, but also he gives us just enough to really get our imaginations going, like wondering what happened in the past to society to have it regress this way. What else is out there in this future medieval world. In typical Reynolds fashion, he gives you just enough to make things interesting and wondering what else is out there. Even though this is set in a medieval France, I wouldn't characterize this as fantasy at all. It is still very much science fiction. And in fact, I would even call it medieval science fiction, if that's a thing yet. It should be, because medieval science fiction is really interesting. So overall, I'm definitely going to be recommending this. Great plot, great characters, fantastic world building, interesting advanced technology that is interacting with a low-tech society. And I am going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Sci-Fi.Brandon says, check it out. The Dagger and Vichy by Alastair Reynolds. And it is available from Subterranean Press today. I will add a link below in the description to the book page on Subterranean Press's website if you want to check that out. Like I said, I believe there are still some signed copies left at the time of this video. So if you're lucky, it's not too expensive to get a signed copy of this one, with if you're an Alastair Reynolds fan especially. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this review of The Dagger and Vichy by Alastair Reynolds. Let me know in the comments if you plan on checking this one out. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.